Morning, folks. I was I must be getting in French we say paresseux, lazy. I was going to work this morning, but I decided we're going to tackle a topic. Yeah, it came up a few years ago on YouTube. This guy had built a pole barn, had wrapped it with tin, and he had some tools in there. Oh yeah, he had poured a cement slab, okay, and you got to remember to tackle something else in here. And yeah, guess what? He was heating that. I don't remember what. It was heating it, and then the ceiling was sweating, It was cold outside. Ceiling was sweating, and drops were falling on his work saw table and different tools on his workbench, and he was looking for a cure for this. Then, okay, he went and he put a bubble wrap, okay, on the ceiling, but it still was condensating on his table saw and his tools, because he'd let it freeze and then he'd heat it, So this brings up a topic. He wanted a cure for that, So I proceeded to tell him, and I'm nobody, okay? This is just from experience, okay? Now, I got to remember I had a few episodes in this. But if you let something freeze and you heat it up at one point, okay, from the freeze to the heat, if you try and heat it up past the freezing point, then the condensation within your area will condensate right on the tool, okay? Once it's frozen, it'll condensate, okay? And it's the humidity within, but you can't take the humidity out when it's frozen. The only thing you can do is let off, like if you have an outside fan pushing air out, you keep that running full time 24 hours a day, and hope that the humidity down outside doesn't climb higher than your humidity inside. Now, to combat this, okay, well, just to show you an instance, I can show you my workbench here, and you've seen that before, and my tools, and it doesn't condensate on that. I'm insulated, but I don't heat this full time. The only time I have the heat on, I didn't even throw it on this morning. Okay, it's not that bad today. That's just ambient temperature in here, and it's been cold out here, So, but it's insulated. But whenever I come in, I heat it. But I don't heat it to 80 degrees and then turn it off and walk away. I heat it. See, I always have my big coat on and my hat. I don't wear gloves. I don't wear gloves most of the time outside. Just the trade there, being an electrician. Electrician don't work well. Not my electricians. Maybe somebody else, or work with mitts. Or anyways, we're talking about the dew point. Dew point is where the cold meets the warm, and it'll condensate right there. That happens even in an insulated wall. This is why you have a vapor barrier on the inside, and well, whatever, the Tyvek, but that's a commercial name. I forget what they call that. But that's not you don't trap humidity in your wall. Your humidity, your inside humidity, you keep it inside, or you bring it out, but that's with something else. Anyways, I don't want to pinpoint anybody here, okay? I'm just trying to help. You can try and heat the least possible. The least you heat, the better it is. I'm going to tell you an instance, eh? It was real cold. I was building a house, well, the house next door here, as a matter of fact. And it was really cold, okay? And all the work, I was doing all the tin banging stuff, and I was doing the plumbing, and so I had a lot of work, electrical, I had a lot of work to do in the basement, eh? So what I did is I blocked off the first floor, and then I heated just the basement with an electric furnace. I think I had 15 or 20 kV of heat, and not kV, kilowatts, kV, yeah, of heat, and I could heat that, but guess what? The floor there, well, it wasn't plywood, it was aspenite flooring, eh? Well, that stuff just puffed up, eh? And then started every here and there. The further you went from where the furnace was just sitting on the ground, eh? With the wires hooked up to it. The further you went away, where it was not really hot and not really cold, it was all right. It wasn't sweating on the ceiling. But around where the furnace was, that's where the worst. So this is why you say, if you don't want it to condensate, keep it at a low heat. Don't crank it up too high. Or if you want to insulate with just a bubble wrap will keep your wall insulated. That's not that expensive. Or you can do what the old guys used to do and use cardboard or newspaper. That's a way. Well, as a matter of fact, they have it's kind of insulation, but they have to treat it with a fireproofing. But they shred newspaper, and then they use that as insulation, and it gives them a, like in the thickness of a wall, they're a 6-inch wall, they'll get a good R value. What do they call that? Cellulose insulation? And anyways, so, okay, something else I want to tackle, eh? Some people are pumping air out, like this guy, okay, that built that pole barn. He was thinking of heating inside and pumping the air out, okay? The only way you can do this is if you want to pump air out, you got to let air in. Or you got to make air to pump air out, okay? So then you have what you call an air makeup. You make hot air out of the cold air, and then you pump it out at a lower volume. I seen the old ways, okay? The old way was to have a negative, I was going to call that vacuum. It's like a vacuum, eh? It wasn't a paper mill there, and you'd grab the door in the wintertime, eh? They try to evacuate all the humidity out of the paper, well, the paper machines, eh? Where they run, that causes a lot of humidity, eh? Well, they had these big fans, these buffalo fans on the ceilings, eh? And they tried to evacuate all the humidity. But if they had nowhere to, they were making heat. They had heaters, like steam heaters in the basement, but they didn't let no air in, okay? Because they didn't want the cold air. You can't do that. When you're making air, when you're pushing air out, you gotta let air in. And when you want to have a warm environment, well, you gotta heat the air that's coming in. Okay. Hey. Okay. I was gonna tell you that the air was so negative inside the paper mill there. You'd grab the handle on the door there, and you could hardly open it. It was a little bit more and it had ripped the handle right off the metal door. Okay, that's how negative it was. I don't know how. Well, it can't be less. What is a perfect vacuum? Minus 34, I think. Anyway, this is all, a good guy to talk about this. And he makes duck work. His Tractor Man 44. He knows a lot more about this than I do. But I know it's easier to heat air that comes from outside, that from what I know, than it is to heat humid air that's you got locked up in your house. Once you heat it up and you taken all the humidity out of the dehumidifiers, well then don't let it cool down again, and let the ambient air work its way back in. Because me here, I don't get touch wood. touch wood. I don't get no condensation in here, okay? And that big door in front there, can you see it? No, you can't. Well, just above the truck here, right there, you can maybe see it a little bit. But that door, when I pass the snowblower, I open that door full. And when I bring the snowblower in, often there's a lot of snow left on it. It just melts inside here. So it never really freezes hard. But there's a caveat. I have a way of heating this place, and it's free. It's not Florida weather, or maybe not even 60 degrees, but it may be good to keep it in the 40s or something like that. And you know what? I'm just going to show you. But in the near future, it's not sunny today, so it's not working too efficient. But, and then I'll give you ideas that I have. So if ever you guys feel like building something, see this here, folks? See right up there? And right there. Wow. That's they call excuse me. They call that, you can research that on the interweb. I think there's a few videos of that. It's called a pop can heater. Well, hey, I can't heat this place with that, but that will keep it from freezing enough to condensate. But the garage here is insulated, and I have I got plywood. Yeah, plywood, aspenite really is what it is, on the outer wall, and I got drywall on the ceiling, and it's insulated ceiling. And so that's it. That's my spiel on this. If you're letting it freeze hard and then you pump the heat there to t-shirt weather in your garage, well, you're gonna have problems. You gotta be easy with the heat. Just workable, but easy with the heat. There's some guys that are managing this better than other guys. Another thing I wanted to say is another thing I have, okay, is the floor here. I have a plastic, okay, a 6mm plastic on the ground here. What I should have done now that I didn't do then is I should have put a 6mm, and then on top of that a bubble wrap, like it's got a film, foil film, and bubbles there. But that's what, if you don't got enough insulation, whoever there, money to buy insulation, buy a rolls, these rolls of bubble wrap, and bubble wrap your walls. You'll it'll help, I'm sure. And I was going to say a price, but that's a 10-year ago price, eh? So it wouldn't be relevant probably today. So in the floor, I got 6 mil, but if I was to do it today, I would put the 6 mil and the bubble wrap before I. It's not really a bubble wrap. I don't know what they call that. It's the blue bubbles, and it's got a foil on the foil. Okay, the foil reflects the heat. Put the foil pointing inside. Or if you put it on the outside wall, like the house next door here, okay, it's got styrofoam on the outside walls. When I built that, I had gone to the National Research Council, and I had asked for them, and I had brought, like, I had a 6-inch wall. Okay, picture this: 6-inch wall insulation, like normal pink insulation there. Then I had an 1.5 inch a plywood, and then an 1.5 inch styrofoam on that, with a foil on the outside. The foil was to reflect the cold. Okay, I had asked them, like I had made them a cross section of this, and I had asked them where the dew point would be in the wall, like that, because dew point is very important. That's where you get the break. And the guy said the styrofoam will keep it on the outside or inside the styrofoam. It won't even reach past the plywood. So boom, I went ahead with that. But I was weary. I didn't want the dew point to end up on the plywood, eh? Because if the dew point ends up on the plywood, then it will forever sweat on the plywood, and then 20 years from the day you build it, the thing's starting to rot, or you get the smell, eh, from the rotting wood. But I was, because that was they were just coming out with this styrofoam stuff, eh, and I wasn't putting it on the inside. I was just adding. I put that styrofoam prior to putting the siding and the brick in front, eh? So I was just adding, eh, to the. But anyways, yeah, it's just ideas, eh? Like, there's guys trying to heat, and it's very hard to heat air that's for inside air. And if you're drawing air out, well, you gotta draw air in. If you draw air in, you heat the air that's coming in, okay, and then you're warm inside. But don't try and t-shirt weather, because you're fighting a losing battle. Even, I'm sure, if I left this freeze completely, and then I heat it at 65, 70 degrees, 80 degrees in here, I get sweat on my workbench. Is metal from one end to the other. I got tools. I have tools on the workbench. They would be sweating like little hogs. So it's just an idea. There's maybe people with better ideas than I do on this. I know our American friends are dealing with colds, most of them that they've never dealt with before much. And I was thinking of that, eh? Like, they're getting colds right down to Texas now, eh? All the sprinkler systems that are just 6 inches in the ground, and the water coming from the wells just buried a foot down, and it didn't freeze before, but now we've angered Mother Nature, and she's starting to turn on us, eh? And you're getting cold weather down south a lot more. And another thing to consider is those of you that are making anything that's on the surface, like these pole barns or decks, okay, with deck blocks. Well, they're going to move, because those deck blocks, if they're on the surface, they're going to go up and down, eh, with the frost. Because if you get extreme colds, you get a heaving, which wasn't really bad before, but it's going to get worse now. You're going to get heaving, and your ways of doing have to change. I've I don't know if should endeavor into this. Something to remember: if you use deck blocks, okay, and that applies to anybody. If you're using deck blocks, don't dig a hole in the clay and then put your deck block there. Or even if you put a little bit of gravel on that, you dug a lake. If you dig a hole in clay, the water doesn't go. And if you get water and it freezes, you know what happens, eh? So if you want to do something, keep it high, your clay. Don't, you can take the grass out, put more clay in there, pack it down real well, and then put a little bit of gravel on top, and then put your deck block. When you don't got no water, you don't got no problem. Or dig a hole. Even at that, if you dig in clay, you're gonna have problems. The decks, okay. Some people excavate in clay there, and they put the interlock, okay. Well, if you excavate, you go down past the freezing, okay? And if it freezes 4 feet, well, go down 4 feet or lower than that, and because there's going to be water that accumulates there. And if you got water and it freezes, you know what happens, eh? So you don't dig down in clay. If you got sand or sandy loam or something like that, that's a different story. The water will wick away, eh? But if you got clay, that's bad. Anyways, I've expanded into all different topics. Some of just has any, be kind, eh? That's an important thing. And we're keeping time there. I hope that gopher, we still have 2 or 3 weeks to go from that gopher's Willy Wally there, his predictions. Come on, spring. Okay, folks, that's it for this one. I salute you all. Comments are welcome, and we'll see you in the next one.